So our program today is Students of the Month, and I will let Raina introduce our students.
Thank you. Our first student of the month is Catherine Hartsell. She is the daughter of William and Teresa Hartsell of Newport. She is a 4.0 student who is pursuing the IB diploma. She's a member of National Honor Society, is involved in dance and band. Please welcome Catherine.
Hi. Okay, so as you already know, I'm Catherine. Usually I go by Katie, but that's me. So basically, I've lived here my entire life, and I've gotten to see all my classmates and all my friends, all the people that have been here with alongside me, and I've gotten to see how much they've changed, and it just makes me wonder if I've changed just as much. But that seems to be a common theme, change. This last year has been crazy, as all of us are very aware, but that's old news. At this point, I think I've gotten used to all the change. I'm here preparing for the biggest one of my life. Almost 2 weeks ago, I received my acceptance to Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. Woohoo. And for the first time in my life, I will be living in a new place with unfamiliar people and set on a new path that I have no idea about. Recently, I decided what that path would be. So over the last year of quarantine, I have developed an unusual obsession. I absolutely love shipwrecks. It's one of my favorite hobbies, pastimes, watching documentaries about shipwrecks, building models, all that interesting stuff. I've always been intrigued by the story of the Titanic. You know, that's a really popular story, very famous. But one day I was looking through Disney Plus and I found a documentary series called Drain the Oceans. And now that is almost the only thing I watch. They do a deep dive into stories of some of the most famous shipwrecks around the world. And after watching that, I was hooked even more. And now every new documentary or new story or new newscast I see sends me even further into my unusual obsession. More recently, as I mentioned earlier, I've started to build ship models. So plastic, cardboard, foam, all that good 3D little ship models that I have around my house. And I've discovered that new hobby has possibly changed my life forever. So now, after building my models and watching all these shows, I'm seriously considering a career in ship design and architecture. So that's basically where I'm going with my life, I guess. After spending my entire life trying to figure out what I wanted to do for a living, my decision was made within a few hours. My path was set. Now, I know that paths change quite often and that not everything works out the way we plan. But thanks to this last year and all the things that have happened, I think I'm ready for anything. I've prepared for this. My parents have prepared me for this, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I'm also eternally grateful that I've had my hilarious brother and my adventurous friends to help me along the way and help prepare me for the rest of my life. Without them, I wouldn't be where I am or who I am today. The same goes to my teachers, all the people at the school. I love them so much. I've been with them since I first started school as a little preschooler and a kindergartner. They taught me how to look at all of life and the problems that it throws at me and make the best of it. And they taught me how to survive in the real world and put my best foot forward every morning. These people have raised me to change the world, and after years of struggle and a few hours of amateur naval architecture, I'm going to do just that. Yay! Thank you.
Thank you. Our next student is Morgan Hanna. Morgan is the daughter of Jody and Brian Hanna of Newport and is also a 4.0 student pursuing the IB diploma. She's also a member of National Honor Society, dance, band, and track. Please welcome Morgan.
Good morning. Growing up in a family of introverts, I tend to stand out with my bubbly and sometimes very loud extroverted personality. Throughout my childhood, I consistently took every opportunity to be around people and feel connected to those around me. So as the coronavirus began to take over the world, I had no idea just how the word quarantine would change my life. For the first few weeks of quarantine, I saw it as a long vacation, a relaxing trip that would come to an end shortly. Much to my surprise at the time, coronavirus did not cease its spread. I found myself walking in circles around my house, searching for my family members. My house felt hollow as my family designated corners of the house for their own company. While I felt alone, they were enjoying quiet time to themselves. I longed for the summer to end with the hope that I wouldn't that I would be able to see my friends and classmates again at school. To my dismay, I learned that we would not be entering online classes instead, that we would be entering online classes instead. In the weeks leading up to this moment, I had always felt optimistic about the pandemic and hoped it would resolve itself. After being given this news, however, I felt my optimism begin to slip away. There was no way for me to know when life would be normalized, and I began to feel hopelessness overtake my thinking. I didn't want to get out of bed, and when I did, I watched endless hours of Netflix. I felt like I was losing myself. In the weeks leading up to the start of school, historic wildfires ravaged the West Coast and finally hit Lincoln City and required hundreds of people to leave their homes and evacuate to Newport. As the evacuees congregated at the Newport Recreation Center, I felt the pull to provide any help I could and heard that they needed help serving an evening meal that first night. After helping serve just one meal, the weight of what was going on near and in my community really struck me. When I had awoken that morning, the sky's orange haze and campfire scent hung painfully in the air. However, I hadn't truly understood what the smoke truly meant until I met the frightened and stunned gaze of each evacuee I served. Originally planning to serve a single meal, I resolved to volunteer every day as the week stretched on. I hoped my small contribution would help these families feel loved and cared for. One woman in particular really touched me. She shared how she spent her whole life saving to build her dream home. Due to a rapidly changing housing market, she soon realized that she would not have the necessary funds. Undeterred, she used her money to build a meager 500 square foot home that had now suddenly burned to the ground. So many of the people had similar stories of dreams that had been shattered due to the horrible fire. Over the next several days, I had the opportunity to meet so many wonderful people and connect with them all on a deeper level than I ever had before. After all evacuees were able to return to Lincoln City, I came to the realization that my own troubles surrounding COVID never entered my mind as I was helping these people. While the fires were a horrible tragedy, I could not remember the last time I had felt joy spending time with others. Throughout this time, so many of the evacuees had smiles and amazing stories to share. Though they had all suffered so much, there was such optimism for the future. While I was focused on all the loss they had suffered, they had their eyes set on the future. This caused me to pause and reevaluate where my focus was in life. It was then that I realized that where I directed my focus, negative or positive, is where my attitude towards life would be. Since I had been focusing on all of my own struggles, I had become blinded to all the wonderful things I had in life. Even though I have continued to be away from family, friends, and teachers, I have also learned that as I lose myself in service to others, I can put my challenges into perspective and continue to live my life in a positive way. I read online about people in another county asking for homemade quilts to be donated for the children who had lost their homes. All I could imagine were the many small children now in my own community pleading with their parents to return home. I realized this small, comforting act of providing blankets could make a world of difference. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I decided to make pillowcases for the child evacuees in Lincoln City with their names embroidered on them. I'm currently working with the principal at Taft Elementary and the LCSD Disaster Recovery Coordinator to make this a reality. I have learned that the best thing I can do to overcome my own obstacles is to step outside of myself and ease the suffering of others. This focus helps me find purpose and face my own challenges with optimism. While I don't know everything my future holds, this community has provided me with vast opportunities to serve and care for those around me. I'm grateful for all of the people who have helped me become who I am and have helped me build a foundation of service on which to build my life. Thank you.
Wow, nicely done, Katie and Morgan. Boy, you both have bright futures ahead of you, I'm sure, and congratulations to your accomplishments here in Newport. Great to have you here today. We've got some nice certificates for you, and Rotary has always been committed to wiping out polio. So as a thank you for speaking, we're also going to vaccinate 50 children against polio in your name. So keep up the good work, and thanks for being with us today. That was great.